Hey guys, Sean from SGT Report here with a very important news update. And I want to begin with a mention of Mike Cernovich's vlog the other day titled Unanswered Questions About Seth Rich's Murder. Now many of you know that I put up a video about this on Sunday and it quickly garnered 3,000 views, and then I took it down because I jumped the gun just slightly. And the most important thing to me is truth and accuracy, not view count. So I took the video down, and I've only done that once before. This is the revised version of that video. See, the problem is I've been a bit suspicious about Mike Cernovich ever since my friend Gans Shimura at the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel asked this very important question about him.
Mr. Cernovich, if you're proclaiming the truth, why are you taking pictures holding up that sign over and over and over again? Unless you've sold out. Now, for those of us who have been in this community talking about hand symbols and things like that, and some people overstate the issue, and I get that. This is like truth or suicide if you are out there proclaiming to be speaking the truth and you throw up the symbol. But you know, it's like, hey, you know what? People throw up the okay sign, things happen, right? Well, here's another picture of Cernovich with Brittany and Nicole Pettibone, and there he is again, holding up the 666 hand sign. And even the comments asking, yo, what's up with that? And there's that full shot of Cernovich with Scott Pele. Full image, he's standing there, he's shaking hands, and here he is in his home office studio thing, again, holding up the sign. And another. And another.
And certainly Cernovich's sudden rise to prominence as a leading voice in the alt media gives me pause, but with credit to Cernovich, he's directly over the target on the Seth Rich political assassination story. An incredibly newsworthy story that could bring the DNC, Podesta, and Hillary Clinton to their knees, and one that the mainstream media clearly wants to bury.
This is the glibness that the mainstream media has. They will do anything to protect the people who killed Seth Rich.
This CNN Money hit piece on the Seth Rich conspiracy theory is absolutely pathetic and entirely laughable. Just look at the likes to dislikes ratio and the top comment. It is pure propaganda.
So now the question is this: will the Seth Rich lie ever disappear?
But back to Cernovich. At the beginning of that same vlog, he said this about 9/11.
Syria is actually the real threat, because 9/11 was caused by the Syrians, and I think Russia and Iran were involved too.
Now, when you watch the entire hour-long vlog, you realize Cernovich is being sarcastic. However, what he never does do is pay off his sarcasm with the horrible truth about 9/11 and who was really behind it. So let's do that now. Now stay with me because we're going to go through a lot of current events and information today, and we will come full circle. Now what I would like Mike to know about 9/11, but I suspect he already does, is that the Israeli art students in and around the World Trade Center on 9/11 had full run of those buildings. And the FBI itself was on the trail of Mossad agents posing as art students, many of whom had explosive ordnance expertise. And I covered it in depth in my micro-documentary, This Will Shock You to Your Core, From Cheney to Mossad.
This is the elephant in the room that nobody wanted to talk about. And this is one of the documents, a 61-page DEA document that I went over and over and over and connected Israeli Mossad bomb experts to an art group that were traveling around the United States and to an art group that gave themselves the name of Gelatin.
All signs point to Mossad and other intelligence agency involvement in the 9/11 false flag operation.
We so perfect.
Next, okay. That was for you then. Next.
And most certainly the signs do not point to Syrian involvement in 9/11. Now moving on to other pertinent news, and we will come full circle, Zygmunt Brzezinski is dead at 89. Globalist mastermind and author of The Grand Chessboard joins his friend David Rockefeller in the afterworld, or underworld. As I've often said, if we had benevolent dictators in this world, it could be an Eden. But we have suffered for centuries, in fact thousands of years, under malevolent dictators. And Brzezinski was an agent of those. Rockefeller, Rothschild, the British royals, the Vatican, and these people's offspring are often placed into positions of influence.
His death was announced on social media Friday night by his daughter MSNBC host Micah Brzezinski.
You'll find others connected to the ruling elite in similar positions, heir to the Astor fortune Anderson Cooper at CNN being just one example, and Andrea Mitchell, wife of 90-year-old former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan, is also a quote-unquote news personality on MSNBC. In other news, the morally bankrupt bankers now seek to pacify the masses with what they call universal basic income. You can think of it as minimum wage for future serfs, one that the bankers can print out of thin air and inflate into worthlessness at will. And please remember one very, very important thing about all of this. Dutch banking whistleblower Ronald Bernard warned us about who the ruling elite really are and what religious beliefs they adhere to.
De meeste daarvan hadden een Luciferiaans geloof. En dan kan iedereen zeggen, ja, geloof bestaat niet en God bestaat niet, alles bestaat niet. Nou, voor die mensen was het de waarheid en de werkelijkheid. Hun diende dus iets onstoffelijks. Hun diende wat zij noemden Lucifer.
And they wear vestiges of their beliefs proudly in the form of necklaces, in the form of multi-million-dollar sailboats and designs on those vessels, and in the artwork they collect. If you think that the Paris Accord climate deal, UN Agenda 2030, and universal basic income are merely the kind gestures of benevolent dictators who really care about the planet, you, and your family, think again.
Maar er kwam een moment, toen werd ik dus uitgenodigd, daarom vertel ik dit ook, om mee te gaan doen aan offers in het buitenland. Dat was het breekpunt. Kinderen.
Oké. Dat werd je gevraagd.
Ja, ik kon het niet.
And one last word for Mr. Cernovich. When we talk about the 9/11 false flag operation, sarcasm's fine.
Because 9/11 was caused by the Syrians, and I think Russia and Iran were involved too. So very important to get that document out. Very important.
But let's be sure to then name the bad guys who pulled it off. Those of us who are awake and informed are well aware that these are the forces that were behind the 9/11 false flag operation.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad. The fact of the matter is, we are coming from a country that experiences terror daily. Our purpose was to document the event.
Thanks for watching, and for real news 24/7, visit us at sgtreport.com.
So I guess when you're talking about the removal of Christianity and really any sort of moral guideposts that we have, I think that from the perspective of the globalists, that's absolutely necessary.